Hi, this is Zap, and welcome to the Reset and Zap podcast.
Welcome to a quick reset with Zap. This is our very first episode where I'm going to be discussing with you guys what's on my mind. And in today's episode, we're going to answer the question, is indie gaming underrated? I've been wanting to talk about this for a very long time. It's actually been saved in my notes since 2023, and the only reason why I never had done it is simply because of a story that I am about to share with you all. But let's start off by first defining what is indie gaming or independent video games. Now, indie gaming is simply a video game that is developed either by a small team or an individual who lacks of either financial support or technical support by a major publishing team or a major publisher. When we think about major publishers, we sometimes think about the big three like Sony, Xbox, Nintendo. Of course, there's other publishers such as, EA, we have Ubisoft, etc., etc. And this, in some way, shape, or form, is the same term that we use when we refer to independent music or an independent film. So, like I expressed, a lot of these indie games have their pros, but also have their cons. The pros is that when it comes to creativity, it could be limitless. It could be stop motion, it could be hand drawn, it could be pixel art, it could be created in so many ways that they can have full control. And by full control, that means that there is usually no involvement from a publisher that can make those studio choices sometimes when it comes to the creative process or design of this video game in particular. Also, they can use a lot of open sources when it comes to developing their games, like Unity and other engines that allow them to create those games. But the cons can also be that, funding can be limited, which requires sometimes doing, campaigns like Kickstarter campaigns where they pretty much present their idea to the public, to the world, and it's up to the consumer to decide if they want to support this project or not. Sometimes that can provoke certain people within the community in believing, is this true? Is this fake? Is it a scam? And it can be very hard sometimes to get that support. But also by creating through these open sources and through these engines, it allows them to have the possibility of perhaps in the future to be able to release these games in multiple platforms. Now, if you ask this question, is indie gaming underrated? It depends the individual who you ask it to. And it depends the audience. So as I discuss my personal story and how I discovered indie gaming, I want you to comment below. Is indie gaming anything that interests you? Are you like, no, I'm all about my mainstream games, etc.? I would love to know in the comments below. So as I started as a creator, I've been mostly known for Resident Evil and for retro gaming, specifically for Nintendo Switch and also for Nintendo handhelds like the 3DS, 2DS XL, and I love sprinkling here and there modern titles, right? But like I mentioned in my notes, one of these discussions that I wanted to have for the longest was the power of indie gaming. But the only reason why I never did it is because back then I was more focused on growing, numbers, building a business, and of course, what my audience was interested in. And them coming from a retro gaming scene, the answer is quite clear. Not a lot of people were interested or invested in indie games. Mostly they were interested in mainstream games, AAA games, games that were resonating on different platforms, on social media platforms like X, Facebook, Instagram, Twitch, YouTube, of course, you name it. So when indie games were brought up into the spotlight, it wasn't really the video that was going to be a 1 out of 10. It was typically like an 8, a 9, a 10 out of 10 sometimes, because the topic wasn't mostly something people were interested about. See, it's so easy to talk about a game that everybody knows about, like Mario, Zelda, God of War. It's super easy because everybody's very familiarized with these games. But when you bring unique ideas into the spotlight, it could affect or not affect some people. People can decide what they want to watch, what they don't want to watch. The same with games. People can play the games they want to play and pretty much not play the ones they don't want to play. So I was like, does everybody think the same way? Of course not. Later on, I discovered that there was a cozy community. There was a community that was specifically built for indie games. And these communities, although small, have been increasingly growing over the years. And due to these communities, the passion for indie games was ignited because everyone would get together, and the excitement of sharing, your experience for a game that probably wasn't quite out yet, or supporting your favorite developer or an individual who was creating a concept that needed to be brought out there, was really, really exciting. And thanks to those communities, I've discovered games that I personally think are amazing concepts. I feel like indie games, if anything, forces mainstream games to be more creative, to think outside of the box. Because sometimes having resources that are at times limited, having limited resources or having no support makes you automatically think outside the box. I love seeing individuals being able to express their creativity and be able to tell a story that is not your same old story out there. And due to these indie games, I've been able to heal at times. One of my many favorite games and videos that I would recommend you watching is The Power of Healing Through Video Games, where I talked about different low points and low moments in my life and how gaming helped me recover and helped me heal from different traumas. And I mentioned a list of games that have made an impact. One of these indie games that I can use as a perfect example was Unpacking. While Unpacking is a very simple game where it's like a point and click, and you're going through all of these boxes. As the title says, Unpacking, it presents a story of an individual moving through different stages in their life and how these items are attached to good memories, whether it be from the family, from the home they came from, etc. And Unpacking is that game for me, because it allowed me to go through my own emotions and basically have this introspection of being like, wow, I have an opportunity. I came from Puerto Rico after a hurricane hit, Category 5.
Above 120 miles per hour.
And losing everything. And I could have adopted a defeated mindset. I could have been like, you know what? The future's looking gloomy. I'm just gonna stay over here and, just make the best out of it. But I decided that I wanted a better future for myself. I wanted a better future for my family, for my kids. I wanted the best for me. And I knew there was more out there for me. And I took a chance and came to Texas to start a brand new life. And now here I am confidently saying that dreams do come true. But you have to put in the hard work, just like these developers and individuals put into their games. And if it wasn't for unpacking, I wouldn't have been able to come to this conclusion in shifting my mindset and believing that there are better opportunities to not only grow, but to thrive. Another one of my favorite video games that I recommend everyone checking is Tome. Tome is such a simple video game that simply requires you using a camera and taking pictures, and a lot of the puzzles require you taking pictures in order to solve it. And it's such a beautiful story that I absolutely recommend. And what stood out to me is the whole art style for this game, where it's black and white, and it almost feels like a pop-up book. And just the sense of fulfillment, feeling fulfilled, feeling relaxed, of just going out there, exploring your environment. The world is yours. And to take pictures freely really did do it for me. There's so many other games I can talk about, like Cult of the Lamb, Stardew Valley. Stardew Valley is, that game is iconic. It's been out for a while, and one of my best memories now is the memories that I have attached of me playing this game with my husband. It was our very first gamer date, the game that connected us, that allowed us to discover our gameplay styles, and that allows us to have some quality time as a married couple nowadays. And games really do connect people. They really do connect a community. So many other hobbies can do this, but I feel like gaming really does have that power to go out there and to help you express yourself, even in other things that you're passionate about, such as music. For me, it could be sewing, it could be crocheting, it could be cooking, it could be so many other things. So the fact that you can use one thing to ignite that passion for other things that you want to do is so powerful. I truly love indie games. While so many people are excited about mainstream games, or could be complaining. Like, I remember one year people were like, oh, there's no games, no AAA games are coming out, we got nothing to play. I have a backlog and a list of games that I'm just excited about, that I'm like, wow, I'm the opposite. I have such a huge list of games that I need to go through that I don't know when I'm ever going to be done. My most recent game is Wildflowers. Wildflowers by Drylock Studios. That, oh my God, it is a beautiful game. It's the game that I've always wanted to play. I wanted a simple, cozy witch game, a true witch game. And I found Wildflowers, and it is amazing what Drylock Studios has been able to do. A perfect example is having dialogue throughout the entire game. I've never seen dialogue with such an amount. First of all, the amount of dialogue it has, the variety of dialogue, the way that they immerse you into this world, and you feel like it's so real, and you feel like you actually can connect with these characters and know more about them, know more about their background and their story. The diversity and inclusion in this game is insane. You have representation for all ethnicities, for all different types of races and cultures, and different type of mindsets, lifestyles. Is so impressive. But most importantly, you can see the amount of love that was poured into this game. I've been playing this game for over a month, and I'm not nearly done. I'm not even halfway done. And I've had so much enjoyment. When I need a mindless game, I need to sit down and just play something that can help me relax, can help me, disconnect from the world. Wildflower has been there for me. And I really think there's space for innovation. There is space for growth. There is space to see beyond what is just offered mainstream. And I'm really glad to finally have this conversation, because I want to encourage people out there to at least give it a chance. Give it a try. You might be surprised by finding a game out there that is similar to what you enjoy currently. and discover the possibilities, the options, and the community that is so robust behind indie gaming. I would love to expand more on this topic. Let me know if you want to hear a part 2 to this discussion. I thank you for watching this quick reset segment with me. And comment below, are you interested in indie gaming? Do you think indie gaming is underrated? And if you don't think, share with me one game that you've played that has impacted your life. I would love to know, because there are so many games out there that I feel that needs to be mentioned, needs a little bit of more love and a little bit of more of a spotlight. I appreciate you all watching. And of course, don't forget that you can listen to this not only here on YouTube, but you can type it in all streaming platforms, wherever you listen to our podcast. Just search it under the Reset and Zap podcast, and I will be there. So don't forget to do a quick reset and zap for the week.